Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me today. I am going to talk today about what I do every day as a medical student to stay sane and grounded. We do have a pretty flexible schedule. We have to be on campus currently about 3 or 4 times a week, and that's usually just for about 3 or 4 hours each time. So most of the rest of that time I am either at home or at a coffee shop studying, just trying to get through all the material we have to learn. And that is actually a pretty big feat in itself, just because the amount of material you learn is absurd and you'll never have time to learn it all. So you really have to triage and you have to figure out what you want to learn and what you have time to learn. You really just have to become at peace with not learning it all and not being able to answer every single question on the test. There's no possible way in the world that you would be able to memorize every single little thing that they might test you on. I have learned that for me, it doesn't matter how long I study. I just need to do a couple of things every day in order to keep my life centered and keep remembering what I am doing this for and to avoid burnout. So the first thing I do to stay sane in medical school is to have a routine. And this is really hard because our schedule does change all the time. Like today and yesterday I didn't have to go down to campus, but tomorrow I have to be there at 9 a.m. Having that kind of change every day is really difficult. I try to keep as consistent of a routine as possible whenever I can. That means today and yesterday, I wake up between 6:15 and 6:30 and make my cup of coffee, and then I'll either watch a couple of lectures or I'll review some PowerPoints, and then I will have my breakfast. About an hour after eating breakfast, I'll go work out, shower, and get ready for the day, and usually by then it's around 11:30 or noon, and then I'll either go to a coffee shop to study for the afternoon after I eat lunch, or I will stay at home and just keep studying there. So that's my first recommendation, is that creating a routine is one of the most crucial things in medical school. And it means finding out if you're a morning person or if you're a night person. Like for me, I am not productive at all after about 5 p.m. A lot of people end up studying until midnight the night before a test. I can't do that. Before an 8 a.m. exam, I study until maybe around 9 or 9:30 if I'm pushing it, and then that's it. I can't do anymore. So just having your routine, figuring out when works best for you to study and when you get antsy, I think that's also important, because for me, I wake up at 6:30. By 9:30, I'm antsy, I'm ready to go. So that's when I work out. I use that energy toward my workout, and then I get it all out, and then I return to studying, and then I can focus. And that kind of relates to my second point, and my second point is to get movement in. So I am lucky, Alex and I just purchased a stationary spin bike, so I do a lot of my workouts on there using the Peloton app, and I really love doing that just because I used to love going to spin classes at gyms, but then you have to time yourself right. You have to get there right as the class starts. You also have to drive, and you have to make sure there's a bike available. If you sit on a bike that's broken, it really sucks for that whole class, and you're paying for that gym membership. I really love that we have a bike at the house so that I can just study, go up, change, do my bike ride, and then go back downstairs, and I don't lose any time to commute or anything like that. And then I also don't get my car smelly because I'm not sitting in it when I have just sweated a ton at a class, which is also great. On days that I'm not going to do a class, which I don't do in every single day, I take my dog for a walk, and that's kind of my exercise for the day. We live about a mile away from these really pretty ponds, so I drive over there and then we walk around. Unfortunately, our neighborhood doesn't have the best walking. We're kind of on this like island of houses, and there's only a sidewalk on one side of the street, and there's dogs that bark everywhere, and Ryder goes crazy, so I just prefer to take it to the ponds. Also, try to do at least one pull-up a day, and then I also try to do at least one handstand a day, and then I also try to do one stretch a day. And all of these things help me. I try to do either a chest opener or a hip opener just because I'm sitting and studying all the time. My neck and my back really appreciate that. So my third recommendation to staying sane in medical school is to make time to hang out with people who you like to spend time with. For me, that means Alex, my friends in medical school, and my friends not in medical school. And it might seem like you might not ever have time to do social things, or you feel like you can only do them the day after an exam because then you have nothing going on. But really, you do have a little bit of time here and there. You just have to plan well and study smartly, and then make time to do these things. It helps me to stay more motivated while I actually am studying if I know that I'm going to go see a friend, or I know that Alex is going to be home and then we're going to have dinner together or something like that. It just really recharges me and gives me an energy that I can't get from anything else. My fourth point is to look ahead in your schedule, but not to look too far ahead. And this is something that gave me so much anxiety when I started medical school. We have our schedule up until the following May or June even. You have it for the entire school year. And that can be a little intimidating when you look ahead and you realize you have an 85-point exam, a presentation, this graded event, this 4-hour thing that's also mandatory. If you look ahead and you look at every single thing you have to do that year, you are going to have so much anxiety and it is just not worth it. So there's a little bit of good to looking ahead, just about a week, maybe a week and a half, because there might be a group project or something like that that you might need to look ahead at. That is as far as I ever look ahead. I don't ever want to get that anxiety of, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, because the schedule has been the same for several years. The people who were second years last year, they got through this. So I know it's possible and I know that there's a way. The fifth thing I do in order to try to stay sane in medical school is to continue with my hobbies that are not medical related. And this is so hard. It took me about 8 months before I figured this one out, because I felt like everything I had to be doing had to be working toward this goal. You start at square one in medical school. None of your previous volunteering work, any of your experiences, none of them count anymore, and that is the hardest thing. So it felt like everyone was scrambling to try to find a way to be part of leadership and a way to be part of volunteering opportunities, and although those are great, they didn't really help with my sanity. I did not feel like any of those things I was doing were helping me stay grounded and realizing what being a doctor is all about, and making this a marathon instead of a sprint, and making it a sustainable lifestyle for me. A couple of the things that I tried to do is incorporate my hobbies back in. So that includes reading books, art projects, doing things with Alex, going on bike rides. That is just something that I think takes a while for you to realize you'll be able to do, but then once you realize it, it just helps everything kind of fall into slots better in your schedule. Instead of feeling like I had to study for 10 hours straight, I would study for a little bit and then take a 30-minute break to read a book for fun, and that was okay. Or watch a YouTube video, because that's something I like to do too. So I didn't feel guilty about doing these things that weren't related to medical school or weren't related to resume building. And in the end, I think that they helped out a ton, much more than just doing those resume building things. My sixth and final point is literally just to breathe and to remember how minuscule this is in the grand scheme of it all. Yes, doing well in medical school is important, but if you're giving it your all, and if you are staying balanced while you're doing it, and if you're building this life that you're going to enjoy for the rest of your career, that's what's important. If you're building something where you are going to be burnt out in your third year of medical school, it's not going to be sustainable throughout your entire career. If you can just breathe and realize what you're doing, and making sure that you continually reassess where you are in your mental health, in your physical health, and in your career, you will be in a good position. Okay, well, that is all I had to share today. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and please leave a comment and let me know what you do to stay sane in medical school or in your crazy non-medical school life, so I can learn something from you guys. I'll see you next time.